All right, so guys, welcome. Thank you so much for watching this video. I have been building something behind the scenes mostly, and I'm really excited to start to be able to give you an opportunity to meet some of the women inside of this thing that I'm building. It's a collective of women who are serious about building influence for themselves and for the women that they serve. And when I say that, I'm talking about influence that creates power and wealth for women entrepreneurs. So today I want to introduce you to one of the women that's inside of this collective. Her name is Aimee Barr. Wave hi. She is a psychotherapist with 20 years of experience, and she does something that I find genuinely fascinating that she's going to share with you today. And she is joining the Empowered Women's Guide to Influence collective and book project as a founding member. And honestly, I couldn't be happier to add her to this group of amazing women. And by the way, we are finalizing membership this month. If this speaks to you as you listen to our conversation, please reach out to me. And underneath this video, you will find a way to get in touch with me. So just listen in and then grab that link to get on a call with me. Okay, so now let's meet Aimee. So, Aimee, what do you want to say? I'm sure you have a little bit of something to tell people about you.
Firstly, Melissa, thank you so much for inviting me into this collective. I feel so inspired by it and so excited by it. So I just want to first thank you for that. And hi, everyone. It's really great to meet everybody. It's funny when I'm given a stage or a megaphone, I'm like, what message do I want people to know? And I would say that what I feel really compelled to do with folks, because I think that we're all really uniquely individual and also very similar all at the same time. It's like we have to hold these contradictions of really being able to honor our own individual journey, but also looking at the fact that we're all human first, that we all share the same sky essentially. I like to say that one of the things that I feel really compelled to help people with universally is really how to make peace with themselves. And that may look sometimes a little bit like how do we forgive ourselves? Other times it can look like how do we forgive others? But it's really about looking at how can we let go of things that don't serve us. That I like to say that if healing is done right, it's a lot of heavy releasing. It's not always bringing in new stuff, but it's about heavy releasing so that we do have room for the new stuff to show up in.
What do you think keeps you doing this work? What gets you up out of bed every morning?
I have a genuine love for people, even with our quirkiness and our all of the craziness and the havoc that happens. I really love people, and I also believe that it's an epidemic that we all have learned to close our hearts in
Mm.
terms of doing that to really protect ourselves from the heartbreak that we live in. And it's impossible not to be heartbroken given the state of the world. And I'm not just talking about the current political climate, but that certainly does
Yes.
factor into it. But I would say that, like, part of just walking through life in a meat suit and being a human being means that we're going to encounter trauma. We're going to go through loss. We're going to lose the people we love. We're going to lose parts of ourselves at times. But what keeps me going is I think there's nothing more beautiful than love. And when we're able to really open our hearts to love, and it all starts with loving ourselves. And some of us are doing it for the first time ever. Some of us are doing it like in stages of life that we didn't think we would still be learning and healing and
Mm.
growing. But I don't think there's any work that's more important than truly learning how to let go of the things we don't want to carry, but also how to open up our heart bigger, even when it's going to hurt.
That is amazing. And something that we started talking about that I just thought was really unique in terms of your approach. And I know we all have like different ways of working with our
Yes,
clients, different
yes,
modalities, and
yes,
the modality doesn't typically matter necessarily.
yep.
But I think it is a uniqueness for you. And it's been very useful for you. You explained that to me when we first met. But this, you're like wondering, what am I going to ask? The idea that you have blended astrology with your work And it's just one of the many things that you pull from your toolkit. But I'd love for you to tell everyone how that came about for you, and just very briefly, like how it came about and how you've seen how it's really helped your clients.
Yeah. And I like to say this, it is a tool. And I believe that by the time someone arrives in private practice as a therapist, they should have multiple tools in their tool belt. That's after you've done all of the hard training, have worked everywhere, have been trained in multiple modalities. But part of being a therapist means you have to shift gears and you have to use multiple modalities. Why I really love astrology is that it's not entirely about our trauma, and it is about our unique patterns that make us who we are. And it
Mm.
really helps, I find, depathologize healing, because I think what's really frightening for people is that quite often they're afraid to come to counseling because they don't want to find out that there's something like wrong with them. And I find that utilizing astrology, because there's no such thing as a bad chart, that there are challenging charts. There are charts that have a lot of really wonderful aspects, but there's no such thing as a bad chart. That I find people who have even challenging charts are the change makers of the world. And they've just learned how to work with different deficits, or they've learned how to work with challenges. So I really love bring astrology into those who are open to it, because what I find it can do is it can help us have a deeper understanding of ourselves in a non-pathological way, and we can learn how to work with the different parts of who we are. Like I like to say, healing always has to involve multiplicities. It's what I love also about internal family systems work. We look at different parts of who someone is. Astrology does that too. And I
Mhm.
find healing has to involve like multiple like parts. That one person once a week for a 45-minute session is not going to be a silver bullet. But if you can go to counseling to gain greater insight and awareness around yourself, greater insight and awareness around why the things that hurt, and then go back out into the world and create new action steps, that's where the healing happens. Like I like to say, the healing doesn't always happen like on a therapist's couch, ironically, but it
Mm.
happens in our life when we get to have new experiences based on what we've learned about ourselves. So I find astrology could be a wonderful gateway in giving us new information about ourselves that is non-pathological and allows us to be curious versus critical.
That's amazing. I know you shared some stories with me about these changes that you saw because it let the door or the guard down, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, I love that. And so I'm curious because I personally know where you're headed with your business and things like that. I know that right now you're doing one-to-one work and you want to be able to help more people. And I know you have a sense of what that's going to look like for you, but I think it would be interesting for people to know where you're headed there because when we start, and if I didn't even mention this earlier, it is also part of this collective is a book project. And so we want to be able to share you as well as the rest of the authors with the world and then help them in certain ways and also be able to have them reach out to you for more. So tell people what's on your mind about what's coming up for you in the next year or so that they'll be able to get in touch with you and be a part of.
Wonderful. I'm really excited about the book project because I love writing and I love being able to reach a bigger audience. And I really think that a trend that I am seeing in society, and it's something I feel really passionate about, even as someone who has been a practitioner, is that I think that healing can happen in community in really wonderful, great ways. So, what I'm really looking at for myself is I'd love to be able to offer groups and I'd love to be able to offer experiences that aren't just one-on-one
Mm,
counseling,
mm,
but it may be a group where we look at combining the psychology and astrology and we look at the different parts of who we are and do a deep dive on it. I'm also over the summer, I'm getting trained in EMDR, and that's an advanced like form of therapy specifically for trauma where we look at like bilateral movements and
Mm.
helping to reorganize our neural pathways in different ways just by looking at a screen or looking at different balls moving when we're talking. And I feel really strongly about brain health needing to be a part of healing as
Mm.
well. And so I'd love to be able to do more research around that and also have more offerings around anything that can help us really move past our trauma because I think we're not going to get out of this time period without experiencing something that's heavy and hard. And we could say that about any point in life, but I think it's particularly relevant when we're going through collective hardships and we're living
Yeah.
through wars and we're living through some really hard times economically. And
Yeah.
so I would love to be able to create more groups, but really around depathologizing trauma, but helping people who have gone through some hardships to help reorganize their brain in a way that they don't have to let what happened to them get in the way of them building a very different future for themselves.
I love that because you're right. I think now is a very pivotal time in history. And we went through a lot in COVID.
Yep.
Feels like now is, I don't know, heavier in some ways, right? I'm so happy to hear you say that. And I think what you're going to be doing is going to be so helpful for people. Tell me, why did you decide that now is the right time to join the Empowered Women's Guide to Influence?
I trust the timing in my life, like, and that is something that I really advise other people to do. And sometimes we just feel it when something is a strong yes. This
Mm,
was a strong yes to me that I've always taken on more of a feminist approach to counseling and to healing. And I believe that right now we need to see like really empowered women leadership in the world as opposed to what we're currently seeing. And I like the idea of creating something collectively. I really believe that's the direction we're going in, which is why I am questioning the one-on-one model of counseling I have. And don't worry for current clients who are hearing this, I'm not going anywhere. I feel really like privileged. I work with such incredible people and I feel very loyal and committed to them. But I'm really looking at being able to reach a wider audience and
mm,
to do both in different capacities. So the idea that this project is a collective really spoke to me because that's the model I want to see more in the world is
mm.
us doing things collectively.
Oh my God. And this, obviously, this is me too all over the place because I'm like, yes, that's what landed for me after last year was that idea that we get to do this together. It's too hard to try and be on your own and make this kind of change that we're trying to do. I would say it's physically and mentally and emotionally impossible. So that was why I decided to do that was like I wanted to reach out to women that felt exactly like you do, where this is the model, this is the way forward, I think, for us.
Yes, I agree more. And I think you remember my email that I sent you. I'm like, I am 100% in as long as diversity is represented too.
Absolutely.
And that
Yes.
feels really important as well. We need
Mhm.
women from all over involved. We need women, we need all of us here.
Absolutely. Everyone at the table.
Yes, yes.
Let's go. Tell me this. In the meantime, while you're building this project that you're going to be doing over the course of the next, you said by 2027. So yeah, 2027. What would you like people to do? How can they reach out to you or find you? And of course, I'll put a link as well in
Absolutely.
this.
So I tend to post a lot of astrology stuff on Instagram. And
Okay.
so I would say that's a great way to be able to get in contact with me. That I spell my name Aimee, the French way, but I'm not French. My
Mhm.
last name is Barr, Barr, and it's Aimee Barr written as one word, LCSW. And you could find me on Instagram. You could also find me on my website as well, that we put a link up as
Yeah,
well.
sure.
And if people are interested in hearing more about the work that I don't work alone, I have a group practice and I have a wonderful clinician in my group practice who also is bilingual and Spanish speaking. And we also have a sliding scale program as well. And I always like to put that out there. We live in a time where unfortunately wellness has become a luxury. And
Mm,
I'm very committed to the belief that like this work needs to be available for all of us. And so not only do we have a sliding scale program, but I will help anyone looking for the right counseling, even if it's outside of my practice, to find the right help.
That is so amazing. I love
Thank
that.
you.
All right, guys, that's Aimee. You got to go connect with her. I'm going to have the links below, etc. And if something about what we're building here is speaking to you, if you're curious about what we're doing over here and you just want to know more and maybe to see if there's a place for you in it, because we, like I said, we're rapidly filling spots right now, the link will be below as well to get in touch with me. And honestly, I can't wait to hear from you. And just keep your eyes open because we're going to be bringing more of these amazing women up here for you to connect with and learn more about. So thanks so much. Thank you, Aimee.
Thank you so much, Melissa.